government. We don't want your benefits. We don't want your welfare. Don't come knocking on my door with your Fauci ouchie. You leave us the hell alone.
Believe it or not, Fauci ouchie was not the stupidest thing she said there. The whole theme of we're gonna reject your government welfare is the dumbest thing, especially coming from a hypocrite like Representative Lauren Boebert, who took government benefits herself prior to getting elected into Congress. We'll get to that in just a second. But there she was speaking at the Conservative Political Action Conference, also known as CPAC. And she has some strong feelings in regard to individuals who need some government aid, even during a global pandemic where tens of millions of people had been laid off and many are still having difficulty finding a job that pays them a living wage. Now, I should also note that in regard to coronavirus relief efforts, the state of Colorado, where Lauren Boebert happens to be a lawmaker, she represents the 3rd district in Colorado. They've taken $60 billion in pandemic relief money, not judging them. They should take that money. The coronavirus pandemic completely destroyed people's economic stability. States certainly needed that aid, and I'm glad that they took it. $15 billion, by the way, in PPP money alone. Now, I do want to also just note, Cenk, that Lauren Boebert, much like other conservatives, love to take advantage of these kinds of programs and then turn around and shut the door behind them and give the middle finger to everyone else, including their own constituents. So before she was elected into Congress, she said this in a statement: "I wish more members of Congress had the life experiences that I've had. I'm living the American dream. I came up from welfare, standing in line, waiting for government cheese, to now running for Congress." And then after she was elected into Congress, she said this in a tweet: "I'm living the American dream. I came up from welfare, standing in line, waiting for government cheese, to now running for Congress." Oh, sorry, that was the same statement. Here's the continuation of it. "Let's keep radical socialists out of government so that people can be empowered to lift themselves out of poverty rather than wait on government like she did."
She literally said, "I waited for government cheese," then said, "We don't want to wait for the government." Logic not required. If you're still a conservative or Republican these days, it's so embarrassing. It's mortifying, man. I mean, look at the idiocy in just this set of statements. So Boebert said in that clip that we played for you guys, we're here to tell the government we don't want your benefits. And you have the tweet from just last year where she says, "I live the American dream because I got to get welfare," which led her to lift herself up and live the dream. Logic not required. In the same tweet from last year, as Anna just showed you, "Medicare helped me to live the American dream and get your socialist government hands off my Medicare." I mean, come on, how stupid are you? Why would you put it in the same tweet? Why would you put? Because you don't know anything. But but look, there's a lot of dumb people in the countries. That's not that interesting, right? Every country has a bell curve, and some people are on the unintelligent side of it, right? Oftentimes conservatives. So yeah, I said it. Okay, I try to look into science or math at some point, or any facts or any logic at all, right? But what's amazing is not that this country produces Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, is that so many conservatives look at that and go, "Nailed it. That's it, man. Take welfare." By the way, a lot of conservatives take welfare. A lot of conservatives, but almost all of them that are above 65 get Medicare and Social Security. Those are the 2 biggest government programs. And by the way, Medicare polls at 77%, Social Security polls at 84%. And I'm just giving you 2 random polls. They often poll higher than that, but they never poll lower than that. They're incredibly popular. And yes, I remember doing Obamacare, get your government hands off my Medicare. Guys, look, I don't know what to tell you. If you just don't know anything, then don't participate in politics. Go into your cave and do whatever you do in caves.
But what's really interesting, Cenk, is how did someone like Lauren Boebert win her seat in Congress? By riding the coattails of a faux populist like Donald Trump, someone who insisted on having his name, his signature on the first round of coronavirus stimulus checks to Americans because he understood the economic necessity, right? He understood the popularity of giving people money, especially in their time of need. And what amazes me the most about someone like Lauren Boebert is she can ride Trump's coattails to succeed in being a member of Congress, but doesn't even engage in the faux populism. You get what I'm saying? Like what she said there actually goes against the tactics utilized by Donald Trump in becoming as popular as he is.
Yeah, and what do the Republicans do instead? You've seen it a billion times. What was the one major legislation that Donald Trump passed? Only one. Nearly a $2 trillion tax cut for the rich, okay? Now, in the first 10 years, 60% of those benefits of those cuts goes to the top 20%. After the first 10 years, 83% of the benefits goes to the top 1%. It was highway robbery. They robbed you blind. And so look, it's mainly about class, but is race mixed into this? Yes. Now, your head's gonna explode if you're a conservative, so you hate talking about race. You wanna ignore that it exists, right? But so why would they celebrate in the same tweet, right? And all those people applauded at CPAC, when she says it in this way. Why do they celebrate like, yes, welfare's awesome, right? And goddamn socialism and handouts from the government is terrible. Now, to the rational world, that makes no sense. But once you put race into it, it actually does begin to make some sense. Because they think, no, welfare for me is great. But when black people take it, they're welfare queens, okay? And so when I'm saying I'm against the government, I'm against the government giving handouts to anyone but me. When they give it to me, I love it. When they give it to black people, I hate it. And so and Latinos and whoever else, right? So that's what's underlying what otherwise seems to be the most irrational, unintelligent thing you have ever seen. And you could say, how do tens of millions of Americans look at that? 75 million people voted for Donald Trump and he does the same exact thing, right? How do 75 million Americans think that that makes sense? It only makes sense if they think it's good for me, but not for you. And that, by the way, is the core of the conservative mind.
But if that's the core, if you are hate watching this, you happen to be a conservative, okay, let me just at least attempt to reason with you, right? Because while maybe the underlying messaging there, maybe what's being implied is a racial message, understand that they're trying to cut these programs entirely. Meaning that it affects everyone, including white Americans who rely on these programs to survive, right? And by the way, why don't we take a quick look at what's going down in Colorado, because it's relevant, right? Now, we've talked about the economic instability of working Americans in a general way, like throughout the country. But if you look at Colorado, nearly 1 in 5 children in that state are living below the poverty line, 18%, right? 18% is a huge portion of children living in that state who are suffering as a result of economic inequality, this insanely unfair rigged system in favor of, yes, corporations and the wealthy. The overall poverty rate, by the way, in the state of Colorado is 10 percentage points higher than the rate of poverty in the United States. So I tell you that because the very constituents that Boebert is representing are suffering under this economic system, and she's calling for a complete cut to these government programs that are incredibly necessary. And to what end? I mean, who benefits from that the most? It's the corporations, it's Wall Street, it's those who don't want to pay their fair share in taxes. And AOC called that out, by the way. She tweeted, "Tell them loud and proud, girl, GOP will strip your unemployment protections and dismantle any semblance of a public safety net we have left. Then make working people pay more for everything on low wages while Wall Street gets a meal ticket." Good old conservative values, baby. And it's true.
Yeah, and I want to double down on that in a couple of ways. First, one of our members wrote in with a similar point, but it's a little bit different. That's why I want to read it to you. Jess B. Anti-Racist writes in, Lauren Boebert is a new employee, is now an employee of the people, meaning she gets paid by the people and she receives free government health care as a member of Congress. So that's absolutely right. And And so I love doing this show with our members, tyt.com/join and become a member. So Jess's point is, well, if you don't like government benefits, I mean, we just saw you, that was just from yesterday, saying we don't want your stinking government benefits. Then why don't you give away your free health care? Why don't you go pay out of your pocket? You said you don't want government benefits. By the way, again, you're a government employee, why don't you give away your entire salary, right? Oh, no, you're a conservative. So you can only relate to things when they relate to you. So when you were poor and you used welfare, you thought it was awesome. But now you're a rich congressperson paid by the government and you have free government health care. So now that you're rich, you're like, well, I don't need welfare anymore, so now I hate welfare. These people are disgusting. And if you're a white Republican that agrees with these guys, yeah, I don't want the black people to get anything, then I feel superior to them. But brother, if you're unemployed, they're cutting your unemployment benefits, just like Anna said, just like AOC said. No, if AOC says it, then I don't believe it. Well, you'll believe it when they cut your benefits and you don't get the check anymore. And last thing is on minimum wage, right? So every single Republican is against raising the minimum wage. Unlike all the liars that on both sides, we're honest. The corporate Democrats also voted against raising the minimum wage. So when MSNBC tells you the Democratic Party's in favor of it, they're lying. The Democratic Party voted against it, okay? And when Fox News tells you, oh yeah, we're for the average American guy, they're destroying your wages. When a minimum wage goes up, everybody's wages go up. And Fox News hates that. So they lie to you and pretend that the Republican Party is on your side when they're destroying your wages and your ability to live with dignity, okay? We're the ones telling you the truth. The minimum wage would have helped everybody in this country if we raised it to $15, but people like Lauren Boebert in their infinite greed and selfishness, all of them voted against it. So for once, wake up and understand how these politicians are robbing you blind. And oftentimes, these fall populists on the right wing are the worst thieves of all. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.